En-Mao Smackdown review for the 3rd of April 2015. Hi everyone and welcome to this week's review of Smackdown. Tonight's Smackdown comes to you from Fresno, California, and it starts off with a recap of what happened last week on Raw following WrestleMania 31 regarding Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar and the suspension. The reviews for this will be in an annotation at the end of this video or underneath in the description box where you can go and view my WrestleMania review or the Raw review that I did previously. So the fireworks celebrate the start of SmackDown and the WWE Heavyweight Champion Seth Rollins music hits. Seth makes his way to the ring accompanied by J&J Security and Kane and the Big Show. The arrogance of the champ is astounding. He swaggers to the ring and stands there proud to be the champion. Tom Phillips welcomes everyone to SmackDown and explains why he and Byron Saxton are sitting in for JBL and the seriously injured Michael Cole due to their destruction on Monday Night Raw when Brock Lesnar went absolutely apeshit. JBL suffered an abdominal wall tear and Michael Cole suffered a cervical fracture. Booker T suffered contusions and general soreness. WWE.com also refers to Michael Cole and confirms that he will be back at the announcers table on Monday Night Raw. Big Show stands next to the Andre the Giant trophy and proudly says he is number one. Seth Rollins takes to the mic and brags about how he's beaten Brock and Reigns at WrestleMania and how he has now solidified his face as the face of the WWE. Big Show and Kane show their applause and agree. Rollins then talks about his interviews for becoming a WWE champ and then says the reason that he didn't fight Brock on Monday was due to jet lag. I don't get this because he ended up fighting anyway against Randy Orton, Roman Reigns and Ryback. Seth Rollins continues taunting Brock by saying how Brock lost his title shot tonight due to his actions last Monday night. Seth seems relieved at this. Next thing, the Viper, Randy Orton's music hits and the crowd goes absolutely wild. Orton stays on the entrance ramp with a microphone in hand. Seth stands in the ring taunting Orton, telling him to come down into the ring. Randy reminds Seth about how he remembers everything, the curb stomps, how he played everybody in the ring like a fiddle to get his revenge. He also remembers nearly ripping off Rollins' head with an RKO at WrestleMania 31 right before Rollins cashed in the Money in the Bank. The crowd love this. Randy then says that he remembers that he has been owed a title rematch for the WWE title for the past year since last WrestleMania where he lost to Daniel Bryan and Batista. And now, since Brock is suspended, that puts Randy Orton at the top of the list for number one contenders for the WWE World Heavyweight Championship. I don't know where it puts Roman Reigns then. Seth replies about dwelling on the past and how the present and future of the WWE is stood in the centre of the ring. He then questions Randy on who he thinks he is, because in Seth's universe and the WWE, he decides when and where the next title shot happens. Randy asks when Rollins has ever done anything himself. He then says that J&J Security are spineless sewer rats who are leeching off Rollins' fame. He then questions the Big Show and Kane as to why they used to be monsters. Now they are just lapdogs for the Authority. And he then congratulates the Big Show for winning the Andre the Giant Memorial Trophy. What I don't get about this is that the WWE are making a big thing about this trophy now, yet they left it off the match at the pay-per-view. Anyway, Randy continues and asks Kane what he did at WrestleMania. Randy doesn't think he saw him there. Kane wryly smiles. Randy then questions what a director of operations really does within the company. Randy says that Kane went from being the Big Red Monta to Little Red Riding Hood. The crowd love this and start chanting it. Kane replies that as director of operations he has plenty of power and that's why tonight Randy will face the Big Show. If Randy wins, the Authority will reconsider his title opportunity. Kane then says that this match starts right now. Randy heads to the ring. The match starts and the rest of the Authority is standing outside the ring. Randy starts with an early lead and does the DDT from the ropes. Big Show is stunned and Randy gets ready for the RKO. Just before he can hit it, J&J Security attack from behind. Kane also steps into the ring to join in the fracas. The bell rings and Randy Orton wins via disqualification, although he pays for this with a right beating from the Authority. Seth Rollins makes his way back to the ring, and while he goes to attack Randy, Randy makes a comeback and takes Rollins down. Punches rain down on Rollins' face till J&J Security and Kane come to his aid once again. Kane hits a choke slam on Randy, and at that moment we hear the "Feed Me More" and Ryback music starts. Ryback runs to the ring like a rhino, and as soon as he gets in the ring he is attacked by J&J Security. Kane continues to attack Randy in the opposite corner. Ryback is getting attacked in the other. Meanwhile, Seth Rollins begins to make his weaselly escape from ringside. Ryback finally turns the tide on the Security and then clotheslines Kane. He then carries out a spine buster on Jamie Noble, a face plant on Joey Mercury, and as Joey Mercury gets back up from this move, he gets smashed by Randy Orton with a quality RKO. Jamie Noble, still stunned from the spinebuster, turns around straight into a shell shock from Ryback. Kane then staggers into an RKO from Orton, and Ryback and Orton stand victorious at the cleared house in the centre of the ring. Rollins looks on, unhappy, from the top of the entrance ramp. His face says it all. Orton and Ryback stare down Rollins, who holds up the belt, pointing to it. Tom Phillips and Jerry the King Lawler question why Seth Rollins, if he was as fresh from the jet lag as he says he was, didn't take up Randy on his offer for a rematch tonight. Tom Phillips then says that we saw on Raw a US title open match and a great match between Dolph Ziggler and the current Intercontinental Champion Daniel Bryan for the title after a stunning Intercontinental Championship ladder match at WrestleMania 31, where Daniel Bryan became the champion. The commentators praised the match from Monday and said that Daniel Bryan was not afraid of being a fighting champion. They then remind us of the attack on Daniel Bryan by Wade Barrett and the returning Celtic warrior Sheamus. Sheamus looked like he was going to clear out Barrett and help his old friend Daniel Bryan again. This wasn't the case, and he attacked Bryan with a brogue kick and then assaulted Ziggler and finished him with a white noise. We are then told that because of what happened on Raw, Dolph Ziggler can't compete tonight, and what was going to be a tag team match between Ziggler and Bryan and Sheamus and Barrett will now just be a singles competition between Daniel Bryan and the Celtic warrior Sheamus. After the commercial, we are also shown what happened in the 8-man tag match on Monday Night Raw and the debut of the Lucha Dragons. For more on this match, watch my previous video Raw review of the 30th of March 2015. WWE is coming to the UK for WWE WrestleMania Aftermath. Several dates are shown on the TV. Unfortunately, I don't have tickets this time round, so the commentary will just be coming from the TV. The commentators now continue about the WrestleMania moment between The Rock and Stephanie McMahon. It shows her disrespecting The Rock and telling him how to get out of her ring. And then it shows how the UFC bantamweight champion Ronda Rousey came to his aid and put the hurt on Stephanie and Triple H. In fact, I read a rumour the other day on the internet that Rousey has joined the WWE. I don't know how true this is, but we will see in the future, no doubt. We now get ready for Divas action, and if you've seen my previous reviews, you will know that I am not a massive fan of these matches, but oh well. I also might add though, that I have read on WWE.com that AJ Lee has now retired from all in-ring activity. Where will this now leave the Paige versus the Bellas storyline? Speaking of the Bella twins, they have joined the commentators at ringside to call the next match between Natalya and Naomi. I will watch this match to review it for you guys, as normally I would just fast forward this. Naomi cuts a really poor pre-recorded promo about how she pinned the champion on Raw, and because of this fluke of a win, she should now be the champion. She's going to take Natalya to prove that she is the title contender. This is so bad. The match starts and Natalya takes control. After several armbars and a really poor run and jump off the ropes, both competitors hit a double drop kick. They then both spring back to their feet and the stare down begins. Natalya once again takes it to Naomi, this time a lot rougher. She dominates for the next few minutes, and after an unsuccessful pin attempt, Natalya hits a submission maneuver on Naomi. It looks about as painful as a cuddle off your grandma. Naomi fights back, reverses the move, but Natalya just throws her to the mat. The Bellas say that they are the most dominant divas in the WWE, and while they are bragging about this, Naomi hits a small package on Natalya. She kicks out. Naomi hits a modified head scissors and plants Natalya headfirst into the mat for 1, 2, and 3. And finally the match is over. Naomi is the winner. Even the Bellas look so unimpressed about what they've just witnessed. Naomi is all smiles in the ring, and Nikki and Brie get up off the announce table and hold the title aloft. Jerry the King Lawler lets everyone know that the champ is here and that John Cena will address his victory over Rusev at WrestleMania 31, even though he's already fought Dean Ambrose and successfully retained the title on Raw. I don't get where the logic is, guys. Up next is an exclusive interview with Roman Reigns discussing his future plans and goals and his WrestleMania performance and how he plans to get his hands on Seth Rollins. Smackdown returns after the commercial and shows Seth Rollins apologising to Kane and says that he finds it funny how he's contemplating putting Seth's title on the line against Orton. Kane says that this is no joke and he is contemplating actually doing it. Rollins changes tone and asks Kane if he's actually serious. Rollins is not happy about this, and Kane says that he can make executive decisions. He then says that Extreme Rules is only 4 weeks away, and a title match between Randy Orton and Seth Rollins for the main event sounds good to him. You can hear in the background cheers from the WWE Universe. Seth Rollins is not happy about this. He says that it actually stinks. Kane questions why it stinks, and Seth Rollins says no, it actually stinks. Off camera, we hear a toilet chain flushing, and then Dean Ambrose appears, and he has used Kane's executive bathroom. Kane then sets up a match between Dean Ambrose and Luke Harper because Ambrose used his executive bathroom. What the fuck? Next up is a pre-recorded interview between Byron Saxton and Roman Reigns. Reigns says that it was a huge honour to be in the main event of WrestleMania, and he came out swinging. This must have been in a match in an alternate universe, because the match I watched, Reigns had his ass beat from the start to the finish, with the exception of the middle of the match, where he took control for about 30 seconds. Roman then says that he went on a ride with the Beast and took a beating, but he kept getting back up. He took every suplex that Brock gave to him and says that he survived Suplex City and that he actually enjoyed it there. He says about how he changed Brock with his fist, although I'm pretty sure it was the ring post that cut Brock open. Reigns says that he smiled at the beating he took from Brock. Questions then lead on to how Rollins pinned Reigns for the title. Reigns isn't happy about this and says Rollins took and chose the right time to cash in the Money in the Bank. He states that he's beaten Rollins before and that he could do it again. Seth Rollins seems to have a giant target on his back now, with Randy Orton, Roman Reigns and Brock Lesnar on his case. Maybe it wasn't the right time for him to cash in the Money in the Bank. Next up is singles competition, and The Miz makes his way to the ring to take on R-Truth, who comes out singing his What's Up rap. While R-Truth enters, the announce team review what happened in the Andre the Giant Battle Royale and how Damien Sandow eliminated The Miz and ruined The Miz's WrestleMania and his friendship. Footage then cuts to Raw, where Sandow was taking on Stardust. After the match that Sandow won, The Miz made his way to the ring and attacked Sandow and did the skull-crushing finale. Now it's time for The Miz versus Truth. Miz takes an early advantage. R-Truth makes a short-lived comeback and The Miz hits a skull-crushing finale on R-Truth and gets the pin. This match was literally less than 30 seconds. Are the WWE serious on this? The ring entrance for R-Truth and The Miz took longer than the actual match. Anyway, Damien Sandow now appears from nowhere and returns the favour of a skull-crushing finale on The Miz. This is starting to turn into a decent feud. Let's just hope the matches last a little bit longer than 30 seconds. Damien Sandow gets The Miz's sunglasses and puts them on. A commentator then quips about how his future is going to be bright. The crowd are absolutely loving Damien Sandow at the minute. Next, it's time to hear about John Cena's win over Rusev. The commentary team review what happened in Cena's match with Rusev at WrestleMania and show still images taken from the night. John Cena's music hits and the crowd actually cheer the champion for a change. Cena is dressed in all of his new merchandise and makes his way to the ring. Over his shoulder is the US title and in his hand is a contract from WrestleMania. Now it's time for Cena's USA propaganda against a Russian immigrant and the crowd start a USA chant. Cena bangs on about how proud he is of America and says the US title represents opportunity. He then makes a speech about the Statue of Liberty and compares it to the US title and says that anybody can fight him for this title and he won't run away from the challenge and he will take on all comers. He then goes on about the Dean Ambrose fight from last week and says that from now on there is a continual open challenge every week for the US title. Rusev's music starts playing and the Russian makes his way to the entrance. He is angry. He comes out with the Russian flag and a bandaged up Lana. She says that what happened at WrestleMania wasn't an opportunity, it was a travesty. The crowd chant USA. She states that Cena is half the man Rusev is and his revolution is a fantasy. Rusev snatches the mic off Lana and says he didn't lose. He says he's America's champion and he calls Cena a coward, and like the WWE Universe, Rusev says it's his world and he will crush Cena at Extreme Rules. Cena mocks Rusev and says that if he wants to get it on now, then the champ is here. Rusev says it can wait till Extreme Rules and then says Cena will see this and points above Cena. Nothing happens. He repeats what he said and wants for the explosion and the Russian flag to fall above Cena. Nothing happens. Cena says, "Oh, you mean this?" and points up. There's an explosion and the Star-Spangled Banner floats behind Cena. Very patriotic Smackdown. The crowd go wild. Rusev is angering and the USA chants start again. Cena starts singing the national anthem badly and out of tune. He should stick to rapping. And then our first match for Extreme Rules is made. Cena versus Rusev for the US title. Cena's music hits, Rusev leaves angrily clutching the Russian flag. And that's the end of the Cena-Rusev part for tonight. How will this continue in the future? There's a recap of the Intercontinental title match from Raw again, and once again the main event is Bryan versus Sheamus, but the next match is Dean Ambrose versus Luke Harper that was created by Kane earlier for Dean Ambrose using his bathroom. An advert is then shown for WrestleMania again in Texas next year, and then there's a promo for Neville, the man who gravity forgot. I don't get why SmackDown are pushing Neville considering he's now a Raw competitor. Luke Harper is stood in the ring, and the commentators review what happened at WrestleMania when Luke Harper powerbombed Dean Ambrose through the ladders outside the ring while he was stood inside it. Dean Ambrose makes his way to the ring and the crowd love him. The match starts and Ambrose takes an early lead. There's no technical moves in this fight though, it's more of a fist brawl. The punches and chops fly until Luke Harper catches and throws Ambrose outside the ring over the top rope. After the break, Ambrose is back in the ring fighting, although Luke Harper is in control. Luke Harper tries to hit a running boot to the face in the corner. Ambrose dodges and Harper goes clean flying over the top rope. There's a suicide dive through the middle rope by Ambrose and Harper catches him. They fight outside the ring and a clothesline from Ambrose disorientates Harper. Ambrose throws him back into the ring and goes for the top rope. A flying elbow drop to the throat of Harper and it looks like it's over. Ambrose gets a 2 count. Ambrose starts punching Harper in the guts. He runs across the ring to clothesline Harper out of the ring. Harper follows though and hits a big boot to Ambrose. He nearly took Dean Ambrose's head clean off with that kick. Harper sets up for a powerbomb. Ambrose fights back and Harper drops him. Harper then goes for the clothesline and Ambrose moves and Harper goes over the top rope. Ambrose follows out and Harper takes the announce table apart ready to put Ambrose through it. Ambrose hits a flying punch and Harper goes down. Ambrose smiles and he's going to put Harper through the table. Harper recovers and throws Ambrose into the ring post twice and continues setting up the announce table ready for the bump. A power bomb by Luke Harper through the announce table and Ambrose lays there on the floor just shaking. Harper looks psychotic. Ambrose looks hurt. Loads of officials race to the ring as well as EMTs to help Ambrose. They try to send Luke Harper to the back, but he just chases them off. That seems to be the end of that match. No official winner. But Dean Ambrose is beginning to become the beatdown guy with big spots, a lot like Mick Foley of old. After the commercials, Dean Ambrose is shown getting help to the back by referees and EMT staff. He was in visible pain from that powerbomb. Next up is a promo for the primetime players, and it comes on the screen and looks like they're trying to set up a feud with New Day. I'm sure a few months ago that this tag team had split. Oh well, they're back together now and still as bad at cutting promos as they used to be. Anyway, it looks like primetime players will be taking on the New Day soon. It's now time for the main event, and Sheamus, who makes his way to the ring first against Daniel Bryan to settle the score from Monday Night Raw. There's a recap again of what happened. Sheamus stands in the middle of the ring looking happy about what he did. The crowd start the chant of "You look stupid." Sheamus sucks it all in and tells them to let it all out. Once again he feeds off their hate. I actually preferred Sheamus as a babyface though, rather than the heel when he joined WWE. Sheamus says that he attacked Bryan and Ziggler because he could, and he wants to know where the big guys of wrestling have gone. I have to actually agree slightly. WWE used to be about big guys being gladiatorial. Now it does seem to be about the smaller underdog guys winning a lot of the time. I'm not saying I dislike Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler because I think they're both perfectly technical wrestlers. But as I said in my WrestleMania review, I feel that Daniel Bryan and Dolph Ziggler are both above the Intercontinental Champion, and somebody else could have probably gone for that belt. I do believe that they should have had their own match at WrestleMania 31. And the reason I say this is because the match that they had on Raw on Monday night was absolutely awesome. Sheamus says he's about to put the underdogs out of their misery. Daniel Bryan's music starts and the Intercontinental Champion makes his way to the ring to "yes, yes, yes" chants. The chants continue while Smackdown goes to a break. When it returns, Bryan and Sheamus are in the ring, but Bad News Barrett has also joined the commentators at ringside. The match starts and Sheamus takes the early lead. It's power against size. Boots from Bryan shake Sheamus, and clotheslines and uppercuts and elbows damage Bryan. Bad News Barrett says that he is owed a rematch as well, and says that he will take it when he's ready to. Daniel Bryan starts laying into Sheamus, fists flying everywhere. Sheamus's raw power changes the tide though back into his court for a few seconds, because Daniel Bryan starts chopping down Sheamus with the stinging kicks. This is short-lived though, when Sheamus scoops him up into a backbreaker and tosses Daniel Bryan out of the ring. Another commercial about what it takes to make Raw, and loads of fan clips with their superstars take to the screen. WWE says a massive thank you to all us, the fans. Back to the match, and Sheamus has Daniel Bryan in a headlock in the centre of the ring. Daniel Bryan fights back, but once again it's short-lived. Sheamus gets Daniel Bryan into a side suplex, and it looks like he botches the move. He drops Bryan onto his head, and you can see it visibly hurts Daniel. Sheamus starts showboating, giving Daniel Bryan time to come around after the botch. Sheamus then goes for the same move again, and the same thing happens. I now am guessing that the first one wasn't an accident, but we will see when Daniel Bryan comes round after dropping on his face for a second time. The thing is, the move doesn't even look that good, and looks like he accidentally drops him on his face. The match continues, and Daniel Bryan slowly climbs up Sheamus, only to be punched down. Sheamus is still in control of this match, and Bad News Barrett says Daniel Bryan should just quit. He says only a few months ago, everyone was cheering for Sheamus, and in the blink of an eye, they're now all against him. Sheamus gets attacked by Daniel Bryan, and after several punches and a flying clothesline, both men are down. Sheamus is first back to his feet though, only to get thrown out of the ring by Daniel Bryan. Sheamus gets up just as Daniel Bryan does a suicide dive through the middle rope to take Sheamus out. Daniel throws him back into the ring and heads to the top rope. A missile drop kick by Bryan from the top rope, and Sheamus stays down. Daniel Bryan flips back to his feet and starts geeing up the crowd ready for the finisher. The yes kicks hit home in Sheamus's chest, and the yes chants ring out around the stadium. The final yes kick though gets caught by Sheamus and turned into a white noise. Daniel Bryan fights for his life on the shoulders of Sheamus and manages to slide off. He then reverses it into a yes lock, but Sheamus fights with all his might and doesn't quite allow the hold to get locked in. Daniel Bryan hits a drop toe hold in the corner and plants Sheamus's face into the turnbuckle. He heads to the top rope again. Sheamus this time though knocks him down and Bryan sits atop the corner rope. Sheamus starts with the uppercuts and then a fall away neck breaker leaves Daniel Bryan on the mat. Chops ring out against the chest of Daniel Bryan and that reverses into a headbutting contest between the two competitors. Sheamus pushes him off the ring apron onto the floor in front of Wade Barrett. As he's been pushed off the side, his head bounces off the remnants of the announce table and Daniel Bryan is now cut open badly on his forehead. Blood is pouring down his face. Sheamus distracts the referee and while he does this, Wade Barrett hits Daniel Bryan with a massive bull hammer. Bryan looks in a bad way, laying on the floor shaking. Sheamus picks him up and throws him down again. Daniel Bryan is out cold. The referee makes the 10 count and Sheamus is the winner with outside help from Bad News Barrett, but this is his first win since his return nonetheless. Smackdown then goes off air with Sheamus making his way to the back in victory. Daniel Bryan getting medical attention at the side of the ring and Wade Barrett is gloating about what will happen when he gets his rematch for the Intercontinental title. So I hope you all enjoyed this week's Smackdown review. If you did, hit the like button and share the video with your friends. Please leave a comment about wrestling in the comment section and please subscribe to my channel for more wrestling videos and gameplay videos. Click the screen in the centre now for more wrestling reviews and once again thanks for watching. I hope to see you on the next video and until then, bye for now.